let's talk about food combining. First thing you say to your neighbors first thing they'll say to you when you say, I drink fruit smoothies, green smoothies, they'll say, that's bad food combining. You can't mix fruits and vegetables. Well, here's the misconception. Greens are not vegetables. They don't have the starch that vegetables have. What's a vegetable? Beets, potatoes, yams,
corn,
carrots like asparagus and rutabagas and, let's see, vegetables. Zucchini is a vegetable. So broccoli and cauliflower, also not greens, vegetables. And then greens, kale, parsley, cilantro, they're different. And the difference is in digestion time. Greens can be combined with any food. Greens will assist the digestion of any meal, even a steak dinner. So meat can take up to 48 hours to digest.
Ooh.
And let's say bread takes like a long time, hours, I'd say anywhere from 4, depending on how healthy your digestion is, from 4 to like 8 or 9 hours, possibly longer. So how long does a fruit take to digest? Anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. So if you put fruits with, say, vegetables, which also take several hours, it's going to create gas. But greens are not vegetables, and they can combine with fruits. They have a compatible digestion rate. They digest at the same speed. And there will be a slight variation, but pretty much if you drink green smoothies, you'll improve your hydrochloric acid and be able to digest things better in general. People who say that's bad food combining, well, an ordinary sandwich is really bad food combining. We've got bread, 8 hours, cheese, 12 hours, tomato, 30 minutes, lettuce, 30 minutes, and whatever else you put on there. So it's all like way off. So a smoothie is actually really pretty good food combining, and especially if you don't use vegetables, then it's excellent.
Greens is something you can fold around the finger.
Yeah, greens are something you can fold around your finger. The exception is bok choy, which is still a green, and celery, considered a green.
So Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts are not a green. They're a vegetable, and they will cause gas and fermentation in the digestive
That I
tract.
taste like.
Also, the cabbages have a very spicy flavor. If you leave the stems on the kale, you'll see what I mean. They have a very spicy, throat-irritating flavor in the smoothie.
So is cabbage a vegetable or a...
Vegetable. Cabbage is a vegetable. Cauliflower, vegetable.
With bok choy, do you use the white bit or just the green bit?
I do use the white bit, and I've never had trouble with it. Any other questions?
Do you use the stem, do you de-stem the chard, the rainbow chard?
I take the stem out of the chard.
Ah, cool.
I take the stems out of kale and chard.
That's why my chard smoothies tasted good.
The chard smoothies will taste really bad if you leave the stem. It makes a great compost smoothie. It's really good in salads, so find another use.
Do you ever put rhubarb in anything?
Rhubarb? Yes, but not the greens. The greens of rhubarb are poisonous, so just the stem. Yeah, you can use the stem, and it can actually replace lemon juice and give you another option for sour in a soup. It's a good one to use. Yeah.
And you use it raw, yeah?
What?
The rhubarb, you use rhubarb raw, is that right?
Yeah, you can use the red stem, not the leaf, just the stem. Yes.
What about vines from things? So if vegetables grow on vines, like chocos, are vines considered raw edibles?
Okay, so did everyone hear that question? Can you use the vines of things that are growing? All right, that's a slightly tricky question. For example, sweet potatoes, as we found out this morning, you all found out, are edible. And pumpkin leaves, the young pumpkin leaves are edible. But you have to know the differences because, say, tomato grains are not edible. And the greens of peas are not edible. Most, in nature, all of the creeping vines, the viney things, most of those are not edible. So it's good to know which ones are and which ones aren't. If you have any doubts, ask a local farmer, go on an herb walk, look it up online in several places. not just one place. Yes.
The combining of the greens, like, because there's only certain ones that you get, like within a week, like we do it within a week. So I'm finding I'm usually using kale, silver beet, parsley, like a good 4 or 5, but that's all. So if I'm doing kale, like missing kale for 1 or 2 days and then doing it for the next 3 and then...
No, it's still too much. It's still too much. If you use kale for 3 days of the week, that's too much kale.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so...
And so I want to understand that.
All right,
how do I do
let's
that?
name some greens that we can use. Parsley, cilantro,
Watercress.
watercress,
Spinach.
spinach, basil.
Bok choy.
There's curly kale, dinosaur kale, purple kale, Russian kale.
Are you separating them all out as being different?
Well,
Yeah,
try to
as
use the
in-
different varieties.
So you can use kale over 3 days if you use a red one day.
No, I pretty much would rotate all the kales, but I would not just use one variety. You know, I'd use all the kales. And like twice a week, you can do curly kale and dinosaur kale in a week. And then you can also use bok choy, celery, endive. Use the sprouts and rotating the sprouts also. So use the romaine lettuce, butterhead lettuce, oak leaf lettuce. Then you have a bunch of the Chinese herbs here that you could get at the market. There's actually a lot of greens that you can use. A lot of people, it wouldn't occur to them to use cilantro in a sweet smoothie, but it tastes fantastic. Dandelions can be used. And you've got wild
broccoli
vegetables,
greens.
broccoli greens.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you can eat broccoli greens.
Where does purslane sit?
Purslane, fantastic. If you can get your hands on purslane, shoot, purslane can improve the memory, brain power improving plant that can reverse Parkinson's and all kinds of, it's great for your nerves, for nerve disorders, amazing for the brain and better memory functions.
When you say, because at home I think most of us would not drink as much green smoothie as we've drunk here. So when you say kale only once a week, that's obviously not 1 glass, is that 1 litre?
1 liter.
Okay, so
1 liter.
every green is per litre, because often I'll make a pitcher full of kale, but by the time I have 1 glass today and David has 1 glass and everybody shares a glass, I can have kale tomorrow because I've only had 250 mils. So
Yeah, but what I want you to avoid is drinking kale for like a month, 2 months, every day.
Yeah.
That's not a good.
even if it's only 250 mils, I shouldn't drink 3 days in a row.
You can do it 3 days in a row, as long as you don't go for weeks and weeks. You can even do like spinach for 1 week. The next week, kale that week. The next week, chard. But it would be more interesting and more palatable if you mixed it up. You can even use like 2 or 3 greens in one smoothie if you want. But at any grocery store, they'll have at least 7 greens, much more than that even. You can use arugula.
Let's rock it.
Yeah. Or dill, you can use dill, use all the herbs. Try to increase your consumption of greens and variety of greens. So after I did kale for 6 months, every day lots of smoothie, I went to the doctor because I had some symptoms. And I have a healthy, like, naturopathic doctor where I live, and he tested my blood and he noticed that my iron was a little bit lower than optimal. It was good in everything else, but my iron was low. And he prescribed me an iron supplement, which I took, and it didn't raise my iron at all. Not at all, not even a little bit. In fact, it made my iron lower taking that supplement. So I was like, all right, I know that I shouldn't be even taking the supplement. I should figure out why my iron is low. Eating a lot of kale can be hard on the adrenal glands, which lowers the absorption of iron. And a very easy way to avoid that is just rotating your greens. But if you eat them for an extended amount of time, particularly kale is one that can do that. I ran into people who have low iron, and it's because they just drink just kale smoothies every day, and so I think that's something that could and should be avoided. And it's so easy, just switch it up with parsley the next day. Find some other greens that are really easy to grow, like the kangkong should grow really easily here. And plant some weeds. When I grow my garden, I go online and I go to seedsofchange.com and I get a bunch of weeds. Like I'll get miner's lettuce is a weed that I really like, and purslane, and the stingless stinging nettles. And I go into my garden, I till the soil, I throw the seeds, and then I just walk away, and my garden is planted. I have genetically strong plants that grow like weeds, and they're they get really tall, they love the environment, you know, and I have a great food variance, and so that's just one option. Neighbors think I'm lazy, but really, I just love the weeds more than lettuce. You have a question?
I'm very curious. You know, if you haven't got your garden or you're on the road, say you probably get 7 greens from your supermarket or your organic supplier or whatever, and so you're trying not to do it every. I'm just curious to run it past you. How would you distribute those when you say having say 3 smoothies a day, and maybe you can pick up a bit of wild as well. So you're still basically.
Are you saying when you're traveling? Is that what you asked?
No, just if you're in a position where you haven't got your garden happening.
Oh, you don't have a garden.
Or,
yeah, well, just circulate the ones in the supermarket.
Basically you've got your 7 and you.
There's probably, I'm going to say, probably 15 different greens in any supermarket. That's enough.
Not in Australia, in country towns.
Like even do you have like baby green salad mix? Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of different greens there, so good. And even rotate the kales, rotate the lettuces, and it's completely safe if you do that. You can sustain that for years and years without any harmful effects, only positive effects.
But if you only have your 7, you're probably going to be having that silver beet or whatever, throughout the week, or 1 meal a day really, but I mean your next one.
Just do the best you can. And alkaloid poisoning is never serious, like can't harm you really. You'll notice tingling in your fingers. Someone did this when he juiced 7 trays of alfalfa sprouts and drank it all in one day. Then he had tingling in his fingertips. You see what it takes to get alkaloid poisoning? It takes a lot. The next day he was fine, and it was like, all right, you just don't overdo it on the greens. They're really powerful and strong. And so the seasonal plants, you can just take advantage of it when it's in season. You don't have to rotate it. That's what seasons are for, really.
You can eat the greens of beets, the greens of carrots, the greens of radish, and you can eat wheatgrass.
Yeah, so there's a few more right there.
When you say eat, do you eat the fibre and everything?
No, we just blended mustard greens. We put them in the blender.
I just put the grass in, the wheatgrass in.
Yeah, wheatgrass. We're gonna make it at 3 o'clock today. Wheatgrass.
You use the tops of things like carrots and beets.
Yes, that's what my mother just said. You can use carrot tops, beet tops, and all radish tops are edible.
Carrot tops are medicinal, so use them sparingly, but you can't.
Yeah, they are edible, so you can say it that way.
What sort of quantity of greens are we talking about per 1 litre of smoothie? Like, is it about 100 grams of greens, or
well,
just about?
You will, your needs for greens will change. We're probably talking about a bunch of greens a day right now, but you'll notice you'll want more greens, or sometimes, I mean, generally people don't ever want less, they just want more. But, so it's hard to say. Some people like the super green smoothie. There's a whole bunch in probably this much smoothie. Just, it's a very personal preference.
How long do they stay refrigerated for, say, if you don't want to drink it all at once?
A smoothie will keep for up to 3 days, and after that, it's not as fresh. It will start, especially with babies and children, totally rotate the greens.
Keep them rotated and then they can have as much.
Yeah, like we did here. You haven't had the same greens in one day. I mean, every smoothie is completely different that we make for you. I don't know, there's an abundance of greens here. That's what I've noticed. And if you look around, it's like really green outside. So it's not that hard. Yes?
Do you put the stems of the cilantro in as well?
Yes, I do put the stems of cilantro. The only stems I take out are kale and silver beet. That's it. Nasturtium greens. Did somebody say nasturtium greens? Yes. Absolutely. Any last questions? Yes?
Can it be too much?
I met 2 people who have lived on green smoothies alone for over a year. Just like we're doing here for like a year, even 2 years. It's a very complete food, and you cannot eat too many smoothies. Unless you don't rotate your greens, then you can. But otherwise, you just can't. You can't eat too much. And it's a great addition to any diet. Even if you go home and all that you can do with your busy lives is add 1 liter of smoothie to your existing diet, that will significantly improve your health, and it will make your body crave healthier things also. Believe it or not, a few weeks from now, when you go for a walk in the park and you see the green grass, you will begin to salivate. It's true. And you'll see. You'll be walking and you'll be like, Valya was right.